In today's video, I get the opportunity to sit down with potentially the largest guild within Mirandus, and now this guild also just happens to be my favorite guild in Mirandus. If you haven't guessed who I'm talking about the Masters of Materium. And in today's video, we're going to sit down with one of the founders and talk about everything that the Masters of Materium stands for, what they have planned for the game, and basically just do a deep dive into who the guild is. Now, before we get too far in the video, I do want to preface this by saying this is the first video that's going to be in the guild series on this channel. So if you haven't checked out Mirandus Hub, I'm building a website called Mirandus Hub that has a bunch of different Mirandus information on it, and one of the new features that I'm adding is a guild hub. And on this guild hub, my goal is to have a bunch of different guilds with an interview with most of the guilds on there. That way you can go into the guild, check them out if you're looking to join them, or if you're just looking for more information about who the guild is and what they stand for, then you can check out the guild hub. But that's enough about that, so let's go ahead and jump into the interview with the Masters of Materium founder, Virtual. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my gaming name is Virtual. I am the co-founder and CEO. Some people get triggered by that word, but we are approaching this like a business, which we'll get into. And yeah, we started Masters of Materium a few months ago. It's just been a rocket ride. As of this recording, we've got 170 registered members and we own 15% of the entire game. So just to rewind a little bit, got into Mirandus early 2022, started buying assets as I was listening to McCarthy just share his vision, and got sold. And as the graphics improved, I really started believing. And then Alum and Grill were watching me, and they're always watching OpenSea, which is interesting. So they saw me buy a bunch of things. They reached out to me. We started talking, and then we met in Malta, me, Grill, and a couple of other members. And the rest is history. We just bonded. It's been a great connection. Alum is just a master of numbers and tactical strategies and cracking a game in 2 days. I've seen him do it over and over and over again. Spider tanks, you name it. If he gets into a game, he will spreadsheet the entire game in 2 or 3 days. It's incredible. And Grill was the raid leader for a guild they had before in WoW. So yeah, point is they've been gaming together for a long time, and I've been in business for a long time, and we can get into it. Let's talk about Mirandus. To me, Mirandus has two core games. The game that we're all excited about, of course, is you could call it the gameplay side of it: raiding, hunting, crafting, solving puzzles, all of that side. And there's another game which most players will not actively participate in, which is the business game, the economic game. And the hardest part of any Web3 game up to now has been creating the economy. And that's a crypto thing. In crypto, anything that's exploitable will be exploited, usually to death. And we've seen that with Axie. We've seen it just with other games and other projects over and over again. But what those games have lacked is one, complexity. The economy and the business of Mirandus is going to be incredibly wide. And make sure you check out our video that we did about the 50 ways you can make money in Mirandus. And there's probably a lot more that we didn't cover. And that gives you an idea of the breadth and width that is going to be available for players in Mirandus, which is really cool and exciting. So yeah, we're approaching this with absolute intensity and focus. And I think all of us, me, Grill, Alum, and all the core members are hardcore, intense gamers. And we're going to hit Mirandus like we've never hit a game before, both with hours as well as assets. So I think that's a good little summary, Mom.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really exciting. I think we can all say that we're super excited for Mirandus, and it's going to be a very different game than what we're used to, than really most other games that have been created so far, especially since it's going to be a Web3 game. So you kind of gave us, and by the way, I'm going to throw, speaking of the video that he mentioned, I'm going to throw that in the description below. So if you haven't checked out 50 different ways to make money inside Mirandus, definitely go check it out. It's a super long video, but it is worth listening to. It was a lot of fun to make, and yeah, and I'm also going to throw Masters of Materium's YouTube channel in the description below as well. So go check them out. They produce videos just as much as I do, and they produce some really, really good content. Okay, so going back, Mr. Virtual. So you kind of given us a some details into who your team is or who the core founders of Mom are. So can you tell us a little bit about Mom's goals for Mirandus?
In one word, it's dominance. And, we're not just saying that. We're really aiming to dominate. The first thing that we feel we've already achieved dominance on is food. So again, as of the time of this recording, we have 33.2% of the ranching plots.
That's incredible.
And over 26% of the entire food plots. So that was the first goal, but it's worth saying that we have levels of dominance in a lot of different categories in terms of economies in Mirandus. So, we're looking to be first with almost everything, whether it's a play test. A lot of core members have done really well or won several of the play tests, including the last 2 tavern tests. So yeah, we're just looking to dominate every aspect of Mirandus. Now it's going to be impossible, and that's exciting as well. As we talked about it in the 50 ways to make money, there's going to be so many different opportunities that's going to be challenging to really be number one across the board. But we're certainly going to do our best, and we're excited. Like I said, it's the dream game. Mirandus for me is really the dream, the ultimate dream, and I think it is for a lot of us.
I completely agree. And I think that's why it charms so many players, is because Mirandus, it is the dream game. It's like, so I love anime, and it seems like Mirandus is that game where you get to live your own fantasy. You get to be your own main character in the anime that you like. And so I don't know, that's one reason that I really latched on to Mirandus. But going back to Mom for a second. So you said your goal is to dominate Mirandus, and you want to be the first in so many different categories, if not all of them, if possible. So does that resonate with, or how would you describe the culture / community that you're trying to create within Mom?
Yeah, first of all, we're 100% inclusive, which means that even if you don't own a Mirandus NFT, you can join us. And we already have some members in that category. We know we're going to need a tremendous player base to make sure that all the Ds and assets run properly, as well as to have enough rating teams to dominate the entire map. So we're looking to get thousands of active members in Mom, and there's going to be opportunities for everybody. Again, whether you're a scholar, whether you own assets, and we're not, if you own any type of asset, any type of deed, I think the advantages of joining us are going to be massive, from the mining, the weapon, the crafting, the potions, the stone crafting, the wood shop, the map creation, the sea taxi business, you name it. If we go on docks or ships, we're going to supply a tremendous amount of business to every deed. And that's the goal, right? So the goal is that every deed member, every building member gets a steady flow of foot traffic. And I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years. I've built over 14 companies. And again, I'm good at driving traffic. So that's the game plan in terms of getting members as well as in the game. And we're very confident we can do that. And of course, if you own a building and you don't own a deed, we call those the Mom shopkeepers. We've already given up some spots twice. So some deed owners, they might not have enough buildings, or they just want to give building opportunities away. So that's happened twice, which is a massive opportunity, because if you own a building and you don't own a deed, you might end up holding the bag when the game launches. And that's a really important thing to keep in mind as you're looking at potentially buying Mirandus NFTs. I think the exemplars are obviously a guaranteed win, in my opinion, just because you'll have utility. But the buildings, make sure you're careful. The deed owners outnumber or have a fraction of the building opportunities. So make sure you're mindful of that. And then the game plan is to create teams. So we're already doing that in some other games, but within Mirandus, we'll probably have, I don't know, we might have 30, 40, 50 teams. And the teams are going to have very specific purposes, whether it's farming or ranching or raiding. And then on the rating side, there's going to be tiers and levels. You know, the most passionate players with the best exemplars and mastery, and they're cool people and they're good players. We're going to give them access to the top rating opportunities. For example, I own a caravel, so I'm assuming we'll be able to go into far regions that very few players can get to. And those are opportunities that we want to provide to the top players. Same thing with keys. For those of you that don't know, every D building, et cetera, is going to have keys. And these keys, you'll be able to give them or lend them to other players, and then that player can use that asset. So, you know, we'll be providing keys for cemeteries, again, for top players, things like that. But even people that are just coming in for the first time, and we want to make sure they're well taken care of. So again, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to create value for everyone. And that's my goal. You know, whether you're a scholar with nothing or you're the top asset holder, we want to make sure we're creating a lot of value for you.
That's amazing. That's super, super cool that Mom is so ambitious and potentially has the power to rule Mirandus as much of a as a Citadel does. Because from the sounds of it, like there's so many different assets that Mom has, and just the power of the players of the 100 and you said 70 players, 170, is that right?
Yeah, registered.
That's incredible. So you kind of already touched on this a little bit, but what would you say if you could summarize what makes Mom so unique, or unique as opposed to other guilds? What would you say is Mom's main pull to players?
I think and it's going to sound like a brag, but it just is what it is.
Go for it.
I think my business acumen is another level compared to 99% of guilds I've seen. Been looking at guilds now for a couple of years, and there's a couple of really good ones in other games, but just in general, very few guilds I've seen have someone that can create the marketing and the messaging and the vibe and the community. And then Alum special, man. Alum is an absolute wizard on economics. Like I work with wizards, and Alum is as good as anyone I've ever seen on spreadsheets and things like that. And then Grill as well. And then, you know, he provides tremendous value on the rating front, experience. I think there's just that key experience level. And I don't know, there's passion. You can see it in our Discord. I lurk in a bunch of different Mirandus Guild Discords, and it's pretty quiet. I think our Discord is very active. We have a lot of cool members, including yourself, and there's just a vibe, and that's important as well. Like people, it's critical that we supply a fun environment and a fun vibe, and the one type of person that we don't want is people with bad vibes. So, we'll definitely kick people out if they're weird, toxic, etc. But if you're a cool person and you're weird and you're excited about Mirandus, then definitely a good spot for you. So
Heck yeah.
Just the sheer number of assets. I mean, I think, as much as some players don't like it, Mirandus is going to be like real life. This is not a game where advantages are symmetrical. So what that means is that most games and most sports are designed to be as symmetrical as possible. And for an example, let's say wrestling or boxing or MMA, they have to be at the same body weight, right? They're trying to make things as even as possible. You're not going to see a 150-pound guy fight a 300-pound, although in the original, when the UFC started, they used to do that, which was wild. And sometimes you'd see the small guy knock out the big guys that were 100 pounds heavier than them. But in Mirandus, or in business in general, if people have advantages and money and assets and they're good business people, they'll outcompete people that just don't have those advantages. And it's going to be like that in Mirandus. But to me, that doesn't affect the average player. Again, the average player is not going to care about that. They're going to log in the game, join a group, a clan, a team, a guild, and then go hunting and raiding, have fun. They're going to get some Materium. They're going to come back in town, buy some food, sleep, buy some gear, and then their goal is going to be to progress in the game and accumulate Materium and invest in better assets. And that's really powerful. You know, that's how you create dopamine, and dopamine's the molecule of motivation and drive. So I think that, you know, I see people complain on the Gala Discord sometimes that there's going to be too many purchase buffs, et cetera, et cetera. I hear you, but ultimately that's the nature of real life. It's going to be the nature of Mirandus.
Yeah, though I absolutely agree. And that's really, really cool hearing that you have such a diverse business background, and that the other leaders have their own industries that they excel at. By the way, he's mentioned Alem and Grill a couple of times. I plan on having them both on the channel at some point for an interview as well, so we can kind of deep dive into their backgrounds as well. I know Alem, as he said, is a wizard when it comes to spreadsheets and numbers. And Grill has a super extensive background in gaming. He's been gaming for the last like 30 or 40 years is what he told me. And we had a really cool talk on that. So I think that'll be really fun and something to look out for in the future.
Yeah. And one more note on Alem, it's not just spreadsheets and numbers, it's figuring out the maximum advantageous maneuvers in the game. Like he's cracking, you called the meta, whatever. He cracks it faster than anyone I've ever played with, for sure.
That'll be super, super helpful in Mirandus, because developing a meta could bring so much more profit to a guild, to a business, to really anybody. Because once you figure a system out that is working, then you really, really dive into that system and you can exploit more and more from that. Okay. All right. And you've definitely already touched on this one, but I still want to go ahead and ask it to, again, summarize what we've kind of talked about. But what are some unique advantages that Mom can provide its members?
Again, for the average player, like we're planning on being like 7-Eleven is in Japan or in Tokyo, which if you've never been to Tokyo, there's 7-Elevens everywhere. That's a game plan with Mom and Mirandus. Like I want a deed everywhere in every zone almost. Obviously it's going to depend how many zones there are, but they've been talking about 1,000 zones, which is pretty cool and exciting. Obviously we're not there yet, but I think we can at least be in every corner or in every kingdom and have a really strong presence. And then again, it's about providing maximum advantages for every player. So if your goal is just to be in top level rating teams and be part of a team that has really good gear, for an example, a lantern, right? The lantern, if you're in a team, a night hunting team, and they have a lantern, you just have a massive advantage. So we have like 9 lanterns as of this recording.
Wow.
And, that's 9 really powerful night raiding teams that will have a massive edge over a team that's going to be trying to play in the dark. It's going to be a very dark game. And if you don't have a dark sun or some other way to see, it's going to be very tough to play. Of course, maybe probably some torches and things like that. But that's just one example. Again, our naval fleet is massive. So if you want to go explore islands and things like that, farming opportunities, obviously we're the top farming guild by a long shot. So no matter what kind of gameplay that you're interested in, we have an opportunity for you to join. It's going to be a very well-oiled machine. And we're not trying to pigeonhole anybody into anything. Like, again, if you want to raid, if you want to farm, if you want to craft, there'll be some massive opportunities for you.
That's super, super cool. Yeah, because it's really nice to hear that Mom isn't going to, as you said, kind of trap people into certain spots, because it's a game after all, and people want to play a game and have fun. So if you want to do something other than just farming and you want to try out raiding, that's really, really cool that they're going to have the opportunity to go out and do so. Okay, next question is, so we've kind of talked about Mirandus pretty much this whole video. So is Mom just a Mirandus guild, or is Mom kind of everywhere?
Yeah, the first original focus was just Mirandus. And then what's happened, we have like 450 members in our Discord. Again, not everybody's registered, but what's happening now is there's these mini guilds that are joining, mom mini guilds that are joining every game that's Gala's putting out. So we have a group playing Dragon Strike, and as of this recording, there's another crew really working The Walking Dead, and people are just, again, getting together, grouping together, playing together. So it's already happening, and to me, that's how people bond. Like you and I are going to go play Call of Duty as soon as we're done this podcast, and we've done that before, and it's just a great way to connect with people. So yeah, I think until Mirandus comes out, a bunch of us are going to be playing a bunch of games, and it's a great way to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what builds the bonds in a guild. That's what makes people so close, is doing things outside of just Mirandus. And I will say, if you guys are looking for a guild in Dragon Strike, I am in the Mom Guild for Dragon Strike, and we're looking for active players. So if you actively play the game, we'd love to have you. If you aren't in the Mom Discord yet, then hit the link in the description, join it, and go to the Dragon Strike part and say you want in, and we can arrange that. So all right. In conclusion, do you have anything else that you want to add that you haven't said so far?
No, man. Again, it's super exciting. It's like I said, it's a dream come true. And why is it a dream come true? Just to cover that really quickly, it's really McCarthy's vision. And McCarthy's been designing games for a very long time. I've played a lot of his games. Fable was a blast, and some other games that he's worked on. And everybody that knows McCarthy and McCarthy himself, if you hang out with him, he's saying this is his 16 Chapel. This is his masterpiece. And as you hear him describe every aspect of this game, and I actually asked him this question and I was surprised with his answer. I asked him, how long have you been thinking about this game? Like, have you been thinking about all of these mechanics for decades? Because it feels like that. And I think on some level he has. His answer was no. But I think being a gamer and a game designer, he has this massive catalog of visions and ideas and things that he thought could be better. And I think they're all going in Mirandus. And by the way, for those of you that haven't played Valheim, and I played it for the first time recently, that game is certainly a massive, massive influence on McCarthy's Mirandus vision. Now, I think he's taking it well beyond that in a lot of ways, but the core mechanics are essentially the same. And Alum has recreated every single deed in Valheim. I'm talking from the homestead to the Archduke. So we were actually recording that content. We'll be inviting Mom members to come and actually experience it. And it's wild because they're so big. Even a hamlet it really feels significant. So yeah, why is this game so exciting? Because of risk and reward. And, as an entrepreneur or anybody that really likes competition, that's what it's all about. Right? We're risking real money. We're risking time, risking energy, and the rewards could be massive, both in fun and in economic reward if Gala does a good job designing the economy. So yeah, I mean, death's going to have real penalty and treasure's going to be real money. So, I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean, the game mechanics even without the real economy would be fun. But I think when you add real money to it, it changes the game. It's like poker. If you ever played poker with fake money, it's not that thrilling. And again, I've played a lot of poker since I'm a kid. Played competitively in tournaments for a while. And when you have real money, the game changes instantly. There's a great saying in gambling, it's only a game until you bet on it. So it's going to be like that in Mirandus, which is really, really cool and exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did not know that that Alem had built that in Valheim. That's actually really, really cool. I do remember seeing something about that now that you mention it actually in the Discord. So, but I didn't realize that was in Valheim. I'm gonna have to hop in and check that out sometime.
Yeah, we'll
But
probably be opening up the server to some members, and then we're recording tours of all the deeds. So he recreated
that's
all the
amazing.
every building, every deed. It's just incredible. It took him months. This is like months of hardcore, hyper focused work.
That's super, super cool. Well, it's good to hear that mom is definitely excited about Mirandus. um,
Yeah, and we're you ask like why are we different? I mean, we're already outworking every guild by a long shot.
right.
If you look at our economic models, and that's just a fraction of what we have. There's a lot of things we haven't released, or ALM grinding for months, rebuilding things, or how active we are in the Discord. Like we're in it, man, and we're working hard already, and we're going to work hard when the game comes out. So again, if you resonate with mom's core values and how we operate, then definitely join us.
You want to kill the Minotaur King in the future, you know where to go.
Yeah.
uh, but seriously, thank you so much, Virtual, for joining and taking the time to sit down and talk with me. I'm excited to go play some COD right after this. um, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys haven't checked it out, we haven't mentioned it yet, but mom does have a website that you can go on, you can check out. It's got a bunch of different details about him, and you can also hit the link in the bio to join the Discord. And yeah, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, just a huge fan of your channel. Just to give a bit of background, I was watching Hammer's content like maybe almost a year ago or something,
I think so.
almost from day zero. And yeah, just a fan of your vibe and your content. I think you're a really good dude, and got to get to know you a little bit. And yeah, your content's again top notch. You got the passion for the game, and really excited that you've joined us and you allowed us to come and talk on your channel, because I think you're going to be one of the absolute top Mirandus content providers. You already are, and then when the game comes out, I think your channel is going to explode.
I appreciate that. I genuinely appreciate you saying that. And yeah, I'm really happy to be a part of Mom, because Mom really is a group of super passionate people about Mirandus. And so that's kind of what resonated with me in the beginning. Like spoke with Virtual several times, and he was super, super passionate about Mirandus. And that's kind of what sparked our relationship, and kind of that's the whole reason for Mom. So super excited for Mirandus to come out. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.